So I've taken out all the foam and all the zip ties, except the ones holding the front suspension. I'm gonna do that last because I wanna move this out the way, because that's gonna be crazy whenever I cut those and the suspension expands. So I want some room for that. But bike's a little bigger than I thought. Now it is 17/14, so it does match up to like the Yasma size. But everything that comes with it right here. So you get your front fender, or this is what I came with mine. Your number plate, zip ties, charger, which I'll show close up real quick. So this is a 67.2 volt charger, 2 amps. And I've seen other 60 volt bikes that have this same kind of plug. So that's the little silver plug on the end, the little 3-pin. Then you get your toolkit, other foot peg for space. They didn't put the other one on, so it's in here. Your spring for your kickstand. It's your kickstand. This is a solid kickstand. Then your rear shock, which is a nitrogen-filled shock. It feels pretty heavy duty. And then your front fender and a little phone holder. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna move all this out the way, and we're gonna cut those zip ties free. All right, now that everything is clear, I'm gonna go ahead and cut these 3. Whoa, starting to move. There we go. Oh, okay. it was definitely a lot less crazy than I thought. So now that that's cut, I'm gonna go ahead and put the rear suspension on. I think that might be the easiest way to start. So next I'm gonna do the rear suspension. As you can see, my bike's looking a little crazy. I actually use a 5-gallon bucket because I don't have a moto stand. But we're gonna attach the bottom shock right there, the bottom of the rear shock. And then once I pull the top down, you can see it'll pull the bike into a better position so I get that front wheel on. So we're gonna do it this way. So let's go ahead and take this bolt off, and we're going to put the bottom of the shock on, and then we will do the top. So now we're looking more like a bike. Rear shock is installed. We're gonna move on to the front tire, and that's pretty simple. You just remove the axle, put the tire in the middle, put the axle back in place. Now make sure the big spacer is on the brake caliper side, small one is opposite. Now this nut looks like a locking nut, kind of like on a dirt bike, but I'm still gonna put a little Loctite on my axle, and I'm also gonna put some axle grease. Once you're ready to put that axle in place, you put that spacer. I like to slide it through, just depends on the bike. And then I'll go back and put the other one, just because it's kind of easier balancing like this. Then we'll kind of pull the axle back out a little bit, slide this other spacer, and that's it. We just have to tighten up our axle nut, and we're good to go. Now that my front tire is bolted in place, I'm gonna move on to the brake. I like to do this after, when the brake's not connected, just because it's easier to get the tire in there, and then you could put your brake caliper on. The disc, if you're wondering, it's really thick. This is 190 by 3.5 thick. So this is a really thick brake disc, dual caliper or a dual piston caliper. And you got to remove the travel wedge. Make sure you take that out. That's so that you don't hit that brake and it closes. You can see one of them is kind of closed, so it may be hard to get this on there. I could probably take this wedge and push it back out a little bit. Yeah, let's see if that works. Okay, so the mounting bolts are on the mounting plate. Just unscrew them. This goes in from the backside like this, oh, yep, it works. So it made it, and then you just screw them back in. But I will put some Loctite thread locker on there before I bolt these in. Now I know adding Loctite might be an extra step for some people, but I like to make sure it's on pretty much every bolt. Sometimes I'll even take off factory bolts and make sure that I have some on there. And for the most part, I use the blue Loctite. But now the brake caliper is on. It's on the mount. It's nice and snug. And we can move on to the handlebars. Actually, before I do the handlebars, I'm going to put the kickstand on. That way the bike can stand on its own. I can get rid of this makeshift bike stand. So let's go ahead and do this part. So I'm going to start with the spring because the kickstand will be in the way kind of from me showing this. So I'm putting it on this way. I'm not exactly sure which way to go. So if this way is wrong, we're going to flip it. But I'm pretty sure we'll be good doing it this way. So I'm going to stick it on there, and then now we can put this bolt in place. The easiest way to do this is to put the spring, and the down position is going to be the most relaxed. So you see it just slid right on there. If I try to do it in the up position, it's really pulling on it. You can see it's pulling it way over there. So doing it in the down position is going to be a lot easier. Just slide our bolt right in there, and then we're going to get our wrench and tighten it up. Kickstand's done. The bike is now standing on its own. So we're going to do the handlebars. Now these are very simple. It's direct mount straight onto the top of the suspension here. It's going to be real simple. Just put them on and bolt them through the bottom. While tightening these bolts, I did want to say that direct mount is a lot better than the traditional stem mount on other e-bikes because of the fact that when these turn, the forks have to turn. On other bikes, with that single mount on the stem, it can turn opposite the front wheel. So I do like that these are direct mounted bars. Now that the bars are mounted, we can move on to our display. It's just a single bolt right here. And it goes on this piece right here. We're just gonna bolt it down and we'll change the angle later, just depending on how we like it whenever we're looking at it. Let's just go ahead and tighten that down, get my wrench, tighten it up, and we'll have our display mounted. So there's two more steps in finishing up the bars. That is putting the brakes at the right angle that you like them. So I'm gonna adjust them, I'll sit on it, figure out kind of how I like them. And then we're gonna put the headlight on. So let me sit on the bike, I'm gonna get a good angle and then I'll tighten these up. So very simple, just kind of move your cables around however you want them. Two bolts are already right there. I left my display loose so I could slide it up into the side. And so now I have access to those bolts. I'm gonna have to slide it from right to left, but I'm gonna loosen these up and then I will put this in place and then tighten them back down. I did want to show that I mounted the headlight with the plate facing this way because there was more range of motion to turn the light down. So I did mount it that way. And if you notice, all my wires are run through here. I basically just unplugged them, ran them through, and then plugged them back together. When you're plugging in these wires, let me show you a close-up. You can see they're two different connectors. So one side has a little tab facing down and the other side has an indentation. There are arrows on each connector. You can see they're pointing towards each other. And if you kind of twist it, you'll feel it interlock. Then once it's interlocked, you can push it. You want to be careful because these are very small pins and you don't want to bend them. So I put pretty much all of them in through this hole. I had a couple I ran out here just because it would end up being short and just makes for good cable management. So I'm going to finish with the front end. I went ahead and put the number plate on. It's very simple. Zip ties go through the little hole, go around the back. Make sure there's no wires in between this and the zip tie. When you tighten it, I cut off the extra. I'm just going to kind of push it back just in case I want to take it off and need to do any kind of maintenance. And then for the front fender, the bolts are right under here. You just unscrew them off of the clamp and screw them back in the exact holes. So there's one in the front, two in the back. So I'm going to screw that on there and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so everything is put on besides the other foot peg, and it's these four parts here. If you're not sure how to do it, just kind of come look right here, and it's going to be the opposite on the other side. So the spring locks into the foot peg like this. This little small one locks into the bottom like that, and you kind of want to close it and then just push your pin in from the top. So it's going to go in like that. Then you take your cotter pins, the last piece, slide it through, and then you want to bend it, which is going to be a lot easier to use some pliers or something. But you bend both sides, the opposite, that way it can't come out and that foot peg isn't going anywhere. And with that last pin, that's it. We get a look of the completed bike. Now besides a couple minor adjustments, we're all set, everything is together. So for the controls, before I turn it on, I did want to say that these are the two keys. It doesn't matter which one you use, they're just different colors. I tried them both a second ago. They all work the same. So you just put it in, turn your key to on, then you'll see it boot up. Now the bike's on, and I did want to say before I go over the controls and everything that it defaults to park. So no matter what, it'll be in park. So you have to pull one of the brakes to take it out of park. Anytime you turn it off, turn it back on, defaults to park. Watch, the P's gonna come up. So once I pull the brake, it releases and we're in gear 1. Now starting from left to right. So this is your rear brake, which is DOT fluid. So it's a hydraulic brake. It's 2 piston brakes and DOT fluid. Your on and off for your light. So that turns this light and your tail light on. It has a running light whenever you have this on. When it's off, it's off. Your signals, which is cool because 2 reasons that these are nice signals. 1, it shows on your display, and 2, it is a notch. So you can feel it get into the groove whenever you select it. A lot of other ones, they just slide straight across, so that's really nice. Also, the turn signals on the rear, you have your left turn signal, right turn signal. When the light's on, it has the running light. It also shows left turn signal and the right turn signal. Then at the bottom here is your horn. It's connected right here. It's right on the back of your headlight. So it's kind of a 2-in-1 thing. Your display, which I'll go over in a second. Your front brake, your selector for your gears. Push it, you can see it changing gears right there. It's 3 different gears, so you can do 3 different modes, and your full twist throttle. So it's got a good bit of pep. All right, so when you turn your screen on, you can see here's how it lights up, and you can see it just switched. So when you first turn it on, it'll show the total odometer. Then it switches to the trip. So this is on this trip, how many miles you've done. Just wanted to show that because when you turn it on, it does that. Here's your battery bars from high to low. It's like little gauges. On this side is your gear, so the gear you're in. If you press that selector button, it'll go 1, 2, and 3, and back to 1. Right here, this is how much current you're using. So if I give it some throttle, which is going to be loud, so I'll mute out the sound. So it showed the current and the speed came up right here. Then this U right here, I think this is supposed to be a V. This is your voltage. So 63 volts. So it's real simple, real easy. It does show turn signals. When you pull the brake, you can see this little thing pops up right here that basically says that I'm pulling the brake. I'm not sure how to get it back into park mode because there is no buttons or anything. I think you just have to, if you stop and you want to put it in park mode, you just turn it off and turn it back on, and it'll switch it back into park mode. But besides that, that's pretty much everything right here besides saying it's ready to use. For the full display, I'll turn it off, turn it back on. You can see it lights up, circles, and the circles spin until you press the gas. So you can see all the different things right there. Oh, also the headlight, you get a little headlight button along with the turn signals. So but that's about it. I just wanted to do a basic rundown of your display and how it works and your controls. All right, so that's it for the build. That's all the steps on how I would put it together. And I think it looks really clean. I like the all black, very sleek looking.